Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me for the 2023 Dawgs Open MA4 Spotlight coverage. Jumping right in on hole 6, par 3, 345 feet, asterisk. We've got Joseph Lyons opening up, throwing the very safe hyzer, not going anywhere near the OB around the basket. This is the temporary AM pad, so this is significantly shorter than the 345 feet that the card would suggest, but don't worry about that. They'll make it look just as far. Here we've got Kirk throwing really, really high up there. He'll end up shorter than Joseph, but he'll have a pretty easy up and down. Here we've got JT. Finally, somebody going at the basket. JT putting himself in a good position for the 2. And here we've got Sean yanking this one way to the right and ending up in a great position if he had thrown from the actual tee pad. As for this is not a great throw. You can see that little yellow construction fencing that is the OB due to some ongoing construction. Sean pitching up for a easy tap in. Kirk giving this a nice run. He'll end up underneath the basket for an easy 3. Here we've got Joe. Also giving it a bit of a run, but he'll have an easy 3 as well. And JT for his look at the 2. Nice 2 from JT, making up a stroke on the card here. Sean from 10-15 feet. Getting razzed a little bit from the discussion. To shake it off, you got this. And yanking it about a foot to the right. That basket was never in any danger. Sean is still out. Kirk and Joe marking their lies, so get out of the way. And Sean, really struggling today. Really struggling today. It's okay, Sean. It's a throwing game. You don't have to be good at picking your disc up. Oh my goodness. Moving swiftly along, we arrive at hole 8. We did not skip 7. 7 is under construction, so we can't. But here we've got a very easy par 4 for these players, with probably only about 400 feet of distance from this AM pad. We have JT leading us off, throwing that pretty good shot, hitting the tree. He'll have an easy up and down for the 3. Joe throwing a pretty nice line here. Excellent shot. He'll have a look at the 2 from there. We've got Kirk now. Very early release. Had a lot of turn out of his hand, so it wasn't a bad shot. But if he released that along the line that he intended, I think he would have been in a much better position than where he is now. And we've got Sean, unfortunately, the caboose. Good old Bob back of the box. Throwing a pretty decent attempt at a turnover here. Just a little too nose up, getting a lot of flare skip over to the left, but he should be in a good position to get up and down for the 3. Here we've got JT with the unfortunate tree kick, but as you can see, he's probably only about maybe 150 from the basket. Really getting a hold of this and almost ending up over the fence. He will have a very tough look at the 3 from there, but that was a crush. Like, if that was his tee shot, that would have been amazing. Kirk just giving himself a tap-in 3. Can't complain about that. Sean looks like he's going to opt for the forehand again, judging by this disc. Seems to be his favorite forehand disc. Giving himself 15 or so feet there. A little bit more of a tester than you'd like on your approach. Joe trying to give that a bit of a run for the 2, but just leaving it a bit wide. He'll have an easy 3 from there. Here we've got JT for his 3rd shot. Ooh, I don't know if that was a run, but that was really low the whole time, but he'll have a little bit of work to do for the par there. You know, Sean got on his knee before this shot and he said, "Oh, I'll get on my knees so I don't overshoot it." Good job. Good execution there. Exactly as you planned. JT making up his par as well. And then we've got Kirk and Joe to tap in their birdies. And I guess Kirk decided he didn't want to have to putt, so he just left. Oh, there he is. He's coming back. It's okay.
Strength of the Florida water.
Here we are at hole 9, a par 3, 384 feet, but not really. This is the Amped. This is probably only about 200, 240 maybe. Joe leading us off. Throwing this one. I liked the line. I think if he chose a little bit more of a stable disc, it would have been a better result there, but should be okay. Easy 3 from there at least. Kirk forgetting that he actually scored well on the last hole. I know it's a rarity, but hey, it happens. JT's cart, just like the lid just slammed shut of its own accord. Totally razzed him. It was hilarious. Throwing a similar line to what he threw on the last hole on the off the tee. Just coming out a little bit early. JT put a nice line on this one. Putting himself in a great position for a putt. Sean is going to yank this one way to the right. You can just, yeah, and ending up OB. You can tell based on where his hips are pointing, because his release point is much further to the right, further behind him than he suspects. So he's been yanking all of his shots. So I definitely take this as a learning experience to really figure out where you're releasing, especially on standstills. It's like Joe is dialed. Like Joe knows where his release point is. He knows where the disc is going to come out, and he's able to adjust for that. And so that's why he's doing so well. He's so consistent, and he's so accurate with his approaches. Giving a great run there from Kirk. Joe with an easy tap in 3. Sean with a bogey putt here. And we'll have to unfortunately settle for the tap-in double bogey. And here we've got JT for his look at the 2. Oh, very committed, just too far to the right. Rest of our card going to clean up their par after Sean cleans up his double bogey. Here we are at hole 10, par 3, 301 feet, accurate to the distance. We've got Joe leading us off. Zooming all the way in on that one. Joe ends up in a great position. Hits that pine cone which stops him. So he would be way close to the basket if it allowed him to skip. Here we've got Kirk. Just releasing a bit of that stress, trying to relax his body a bit. And doing great work. That's a fantastic shot there. Coming up just a little bit short, but he'll have a good look at the 2 from there. JT leaving this one a little bit too low. Giving a pretty decent skip, but he'll still be just barely past that pine tree. Sean yanking this one way to the right again. You saw on his run-up, he started with his hips pointing at the target, and then during his throw, his foot either slipped or he picked it up and moved it, and he actually pointed his hips further to the right. Good approach there from him, but his initial tee shot, that's why he was missing so much. He needs to focus a bit more on starting on the right side of the tee box and moving to the left. JT giving that a nice run, just coming up a little bit short. It's pretty difficult on these slightly elevated positions here, being so downhill. Yeah, and Kirk just coming up a bit short as well. Joe making this hole look so easy while everybody else is struggling. Rest of our card going to tap in their 3s before we move on to my favorite hole, hole 11.
I think I'm out. Wedge it? The count? No. Try to make sure it stayed in. Did it come to rest?
Hole 11, 335 feet. This used to be my longest throw before my form improved, and it's the only hole that I've almost aced. Joe putting a nice line on this one. Oh, just a little too wide, hitting that guardian tree. That's the real danger of the turnover there. Either turning it over too much or not enough, and ending up over there to the left. Let's see if Kirk can adjust for that. Nope, making the first mistake, instead overturning his disc and ending up OB over the fence line there. JT very low, very early, and rolling a little bit further to the left, so that's a very unfortunate miss there. I am legitimately surprised Sean did not opt for the forehand. Throwing extremely nose up. He does not get too far from the pin. Kirk throwing his approach from the OB. Giving himself a lot of work from there. Sean opting to approach with his forehand. Giving himself a pretty good look there. So great result. Good execution, I would say. Here we've got JT. Very low and driven, and just a little bit past the basket, probably about 10 feet. Good shot there. Nice and smooth from Joe, giving the basket a little bit of a scare. He should have a pretty easy 3 from how he's putting. Kirk telling me he's going to throw this one in. And almost making good on it. Great run. Unfortunately going to have to settle for double bogey at best. JT making good on his 3. Sean to follow suit. Assuming those dogs don't get to his head. Nope. For once, he makes a putt. Joe making an easy par, and Kirk unfortunately going to have to put out for his double bogey. Here we arrive at hole 12, par 3, 375 feet. Not really much closer than that, but you know the drill. Joe leading us off, throwing a nice little turn over here, but fading out a bit early. He'll be about pin high, about 50, 60 feet. JT to follow suit. Whoa, really getting a hold of this one. He actually crushed this. Like, if he had thrown on the line he wanted, he would be probably about 20 feet past the pin. But as it is, he's going to have a lot of work to do to get up and down with a bit of a downhill. So, distance control. Sean throwing very hyzer here. Hitting that cedar tree and landing very short, unfortunately for him. And we've got Kirk, aka Bob. And he puts a nice line on that one. Nice and low, nice and driven. Sean opting for the knee forehand again. And ending up in a pretty good spot for the 3. JT giving a pretty good run to that one, ended up in a good spot. Here we've got Kirk from his drive. Still not yet at Joe's. Putting a nice bit on that one, and that's a bit of a scary putt there coming back. At least for a bad player such as myself. Obviously, Kirk nowhere near my level, much higher, obviously. Oh, Joe trying to throw it in for the 2. Putting a great run to that. Some nice background music going on. JT making good on the 3. Great 3 from being so far out of position off the tee. You've got Kirk to clean up the 3 as well. And this hole always gets in my head. If I'm in that little ditch back there, I almost always miss my putt. Joe making good on the 3 as well, and then Sean to tap in his 3. Here at hole 13, par 3, 254 feet. We've got a OB to the right on the road, OB to the left on the walking path. Joe leading us out with a nice little backdoor hyzer action here. Me personally, I like to opt for a nice straight putter down the middle to the left of those 2 pine trees there, about center frame. JT opting for the backdoor hyzer route again. Following up with Joe, that is. I definitely think that that's the easier play. Less chance of a danger. Unless you throw it quite like that. Sean not hitting up OB, just short of the walking path there. Probably wished he had thrown a forehand. I've seen this hole aced twice personally, both times with a forehand. Ooh, Kirk putting a great line on this one. Following that downhill slope, he should have a great look at the 2 from there. Sean throwing very nose up there, ending up well short of the pin. Gives himself a tester putt when he has been struggling with his putter today. There's JT giving that a nice little run. Joe from just a little bit closer. Also gonna give it a little safe run there. Sean for his par save. Oh, just coming up a little bit short there. Kirk for his 2. Great birdie here, getting a stroke on the card. Fighting his way back up the leaderboard there. JT also been playing pretty dang smooth. Not making any fireworks, but scorecard staying nice and clean. And Sean just struggling a little bit today.
I know. It's the lucky white mini, by the way. Oh, I ought to get one of mine out.
Hole 14, par 3, 276 feet, accurate to the distance. Just about. Maybe a couple feet off, but OB walking past to the right on this time, or on this hole, excuse me. Kirk leading us off. Nice and low drive here. Not getting enough skip though. I'm not sure what disc that was, but I think he should have opted for a bit of a faster one. Still, pretty easy up and down from there. I thought this was going to be way too stable for Joe, but it flipped up right there like halfway through the flight, and it ended up in a great spot. The card directly behind us, unfortunately, threw OB. JT also throwing this one very low, but getting a much nicer skip there, but looks like he hit the second tree, just past that tree. Sean making a good correction from his previous shots. The disc choice a bit suboptimal, but he should be in an okay position to get up and down. Kirk trying to find a comfortable position to throw the disc from. And struggling a bit. Unfortunately for him, this is very clearly a foot fault. His lead foot there to our left is well in front of his mini, but nobody called him, so it's no problem. Pretty easy up and down there from him. It's easier when you cheat. Proof. JT from just a little bit further up. Like I said, he hit that tree and just kind of stopped him dead. Giving this a great run. Sean doing something smart and laying up, making it easy on himself. Joe for his look at the 2. Oh, just pulling that one a little bit wide. A little uncharacteristic from him. He's been putting so well so far. But making good on his par, so no harm, no foul. Just keeping it nice and smooth. As of this point, he's actually leading in MA4 by 1 stroke. So playing very well for his division. JT making good on the 3, and Sean hopefully to follow suit. Hey, he made one. Hole 15, our final hole, par 3, 320 feet. I think it actually plays a little further than that, but very tight wooded hole here. Kirk throwing a great shot here, putting himself in a great position. Easy up and down, and a bit of a run for the 2. Joe not getting enough turn on this and ending up OB on the walking path. Right on the last hole. Bogey free. And I think OB free until this hole. JT yanking that one way to the right. Ending up pin high, but behind a bunch of trees. And here we've got Sean. Playing to his strengths, throwing the wide hyzer there. Getting in a very unfortunate tree kick. Wasn't a bad shot, but just hit the only tree. Is all. And this is also a foot fault. His lead foot is in front of his lie. But shooters never prosper, and he ends up way short. Kirk with the berg. Oh, great run there. He will finish his round with an easy par here. Joe to save par from probably about 60, 70 feet here. A valiant effort. He will unfortunately have to settle for the tap-in bogey. And Sean to try and save the 3 as well. Just want to give a huge shout out to Sean for paying for and sponsoring this coverage for his card. He does a lot for disc golf. I think he's one of the sponsors for the tournament as well. So huge thank you to him for being such a huge supporter of the sport. JT giving that a great run. That was nice and floaty with a little bit of turn. JT cleaning up his par. Sean to do the same, but with a little bit more of a +1-ish score to this putt, ending the first round 8 over. Very unfortunate, and Joseph with the tap-in bogey will finish tied for first. So great performance from Joe, tied for the hot round. Want to once again thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Sean, once again for sponsoring this, and just a nice little moment at the last card. They wanted to get a group photo together, so I will leave you with this nice little friendly get together.